Green Illusions by Emma, Dale, Caitlin, Brian, DJ, and Crystal. The hydrogen zombie. As we consider our future and the problems we face, humanity must look past the manipulations of companies who want to sell us false bill of goods. Chapter 5 of Green Illusions helps the reader make an informed decision on whether or not to consider hydrogen as a green technology. The detail of the chapter goes into how technology works, what kind, how much energy it can produce, and who would stand profit of this technology. The striking fact about it is that it takes 35 kWh to make 1 kWh of energy from hydrogen and made me do a double take. This is an interesting cost-benefit analysis. The result from my search found the hydrogen fuel cell lacking. The profiteers of this false bill of sale surprisingly were some of the worst polluters, and they created the situation for why we need clean cars to begin with. Green Illusions pointed out that the nuclear sector was pushing this, in quotes, green technology, so they could justify their existence while maintaining profits. As we build a better sustainable society, we must look at the bad actors and reject these false premises. Instead, we must look at each other and educate ourselves for the better solutions. The rise and fall of the hydrogen economy paved way for a hydrogen fuel cell car that had no environmental impact. This hydrogen technology is characterized as zombie technology due to its carrying on after the hydrogen economy fall. There's two components, hydrogen itself and the contraptions of hydrogen and oxygen that create electricity. The significance of the hydrogen zombie. The significance of the hydrogen zombie is that big businesses such as nuclear power and automotive companies created this myth of a vehicle that would run on clean hydrogen and the only waste would be water. It is important to recognize that hydrogen is not a free resource. Like electricity, it needs to be generated somehow. Now, it happens that it can be generated from water or air. However, it takes huge amounts of energy to chemically separate it and capture it for a small gain. As the author states, in quotes, it always takes more energy to create hydrogen than can be retrieved from it later on. They failed to tell customers that to generate the hydrogen, nuclear power was the best way to generate the mass amounts of energy. The nuclear power interests created a bit of the Trojan horse in the sense of saying that cleaner automotive could be created, but the only way clean fuel could be created economically was by using a very dangerous toxic fuel, nuclear power. Interesting connections to the Project Hydrogen Zombie. In Chapter 5, automobile companies promised no exploitation of natural resources anymore. This means no pollution anymore. When they first started the hydrogen economy, this promise sounded too good to be true, and it was. Automotive companies got the public to believe hydrogen was going to fix all of their problems, but really it was worse for the environment altogether. There was almost nothing good about the hydrogen economy. People were genuinely interested in this new technology, but their emotions were just being played with. Though, when people started realizing the hydrogen economy was not what they thought it was, there is not a stream of commercial revenue. There are not products. Overpromising and underperforming leads to investor disappointment, claimed Redstone. By this point, people had already begun thinking of the hydrogen economy was a hoax, so it was not a huge letdown when it failed. But still, people had put so much money into the economy, and some might have even lost their jobs, creating a more negative health effect. We need to be bringing together sustainability, environmental justice, and equity, where the author stated that, moreover, by development, we mean both physical and human development. In addition, we fully endorse Middleton and O'Keefe's point that unless analysis of development begin not with the symptoms, environmental or economic instability, but with the cause, social injustice, then no development can be sustainable. I chose this quote from the reading to make a connection to the hydrogen zombie because it talks about social injustice and that no development can be sustainable, so them coming up with the concept about the car, which is known as the hydrogen zombie, is a complete lie. This is because the car not only uses water as a waste, but other substances as well that will cause environmental injustice and climate change. Connecting the reading to our current situation. With the current pandemic crisis, our world is turned upside down. We are being flooded with information regarding all aspects of our lives. With a possible recession in our future, people will be looking for solutions. We need to hold ourselves accountable and to look for the information and potential solutions offered. We encourage everyone to do the following. First, find information from reliable sources. That makes a difference and crosses out lots of false information. Next is to be skeptical. Do your own research to look more in depth of what is really going on. If we want to make a change, we cannot choose to be naive. Lastly, keep sustainability in mind. Put your priorities in order of what's important to you. Hopefully, the environment is at the top of the list. Improving consumption. As they say, the best material consumption is a less material consumption. Green Illusions presents us with the opportunity in Chapter 11 to question what really makes us happy. In America, we are told that in order for us to live our best life, we must consume, we must shop, and we must acquire wealth. How did America get so obsessed with consumption? Are we really willing to destroy our planet? Green Illusions points out to us that it starts with our children. The practice of marketing to children surfaced as soon as the modern concept of childhood was socially constructed. But the most recent decades of commercial promotion manifestly delivers in intensity, reach, and strategy. This process brainwashes our children and creates a society that will eat itself for the sake of eating. I found that one of the most disturbing results from teaching children to consume at an early age is the toll on mental health. Psychology shows that healthy children are worse off to become mentally unhealthy from more consumption. Children with emotional problems will be helped if they disengage from the world that corporations are constructing for them. That is, less involvement in consumer culture leads to healthier children, and the more involvement leads kids' psychological well-being to deteriorate. This is unfortunate and needs to change. To make a change in consumption, we must start with the problem. After we evaluated this, we need to move forward. So how can we improve consumption? We can start with promoting volunteering, ways to get people involved and aware with what's going on. Next is to stop targeting kids with advertisements. Stop encouraging this kind of parenting from a young age. Lastly, it's vegetarianism. Start with working with your plants. Feed off of your plants. Function off of plants. Things that are renewable and sustainable. In addition, when we were little, we were taught greed is good, more is better, bigger the better, right? Let's keep up with the Joneses. This chapter discusses the pressure people feel to consume more. Some of the pressure is self-imposed, and some of the pressure is carefully planned attacks by advertisers and marketers who convince us that we need this new technology, we need these new automobiles, and we need to be fashionable, right? Advertisers aren't ashamed to sell to anyone. They're especially adept to marketing children through cartoons, movies, toys, and because a good little consumer now will grow into a great consumer in the future. The chapter, Improving Consumption, tries to convince us that we don't need all of this. Our society is based off the idea that more is better. More will make us happier, and that's not necessarily true. According to the Chapter 11 in Green Illusions, we work longer hours so we can stock our indebted homes with whatever it takes and that we saw on television during our abbreviated weekends. This is not going to lead us anywhere, except a continued cycle of debt and need for things. More money and things make people happy, but it's more likely to be short-lived and superficial. Though, if people were to live a more simple life with less desire to buy things, then we might be able to work less and live healthier, better lives. This would also allow people to have more free time to pick up a hobby, exercise, be creative, do things that actually make them happy. Dr. Shepard and his colleagues have spent their careers issuing a larger warning, one that much of the public still chooses to ignore. I speak, of course, about the risk of climate change, which is what so many of us humans are trying to warn others about and make more people aware about. This is not something that is going to be short-termed. It's going to continue until we put a stop to it, hopefully. Thank you for listening. We encourage everybody to keep this in mind and work towards a better future.